Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. And good morning, everyone. Welcome to City of York, no, Etobicoke, York Committee of Adjustment. In accordance with sections 45, 53, and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. Just before we proceed, I'd like to do some introductions. My name is Stan Komorik. I will be your chair this morning. On my fellow, I'd like to introduce my fellow panel members as well. On my far left is Natalia Popovic, and on my near left is Donald Taylor. On my near right is Rick Ross, and on my far right is Bill Dalton. I'd also like to introduce Barbara Bertosik, our Deputy Secretary Treasurer for Etobicoke, York, at the far end of the podium on my left side, and then Barb's staff in front. Okay, I'd like to do some introductory remarks. So the Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning that apply to property, permissions to extend or alter lawful nonconforming uses, and consent to sever properties to create new lots. Our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on is a traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. Our procedure today, the Committee of Adjustment public hearings are now conducted in a hybrid, in-person and virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submissions in person, while others will do so virtually by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform. The meetings are also streamed on the City of Toronto City Planning YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. Those who want to participate virtually and have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer and tablet, smartphone, or telephone and have the option of participating via video or audio only. All virtual participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, you will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelist when your item is being held. During this time, your camera will be enabled. You will be only visible during your 5-minute allotted speaking time, and at other times, your video will be disabled and you will be reinstated as an attendee. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. Those participating through WebEx are not allowed to use share screen or other panelist controls during their video appearance. Copies of the decision of the committee. People attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision on an application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address, as the Committee of Adjustment staff and the Toronto local appeal body will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the Committee of Adjustment, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto local appeal body, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government has amended the Planning Act and generally removed all rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions, and now only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specific persons and bodies as defined by the Planning Act are permitted to appeal decisions of the committee. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. Our hearing procedure, we will call out each item in the order listed in the agenda. When you make your submission, when an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are advised to ask the chair if they wish to speak to the committee. The committee may also ask questions and or take the matter into committee for decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. We'll comment when you are reaching or have reached that 5-minute mark. Any presentation or other materials, as I mentioned earlier, should have been submitted to the committee ahead of time by email, and staff and committee members cannot accept materials at the hearing today. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to the proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised to ensure that the revised application is accurate and that those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes. Then individuals either in support or opposed to the application will be invited to speak. Generally, we first call on speakers that are here in person and those participating through WebEx. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent has the opportunity to rebut, but only those issues that were raised by the previous speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion. The application will then be taken into committee for a decision. Okay, before we proceed to the agenda, we have a couple of administrative items. First off, we have confirmation of minutes from the previous meeting. Mr. Taylor?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'll move approval of the minutes of the hearing held on March 20th.
Thank you, sir. Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
Okay, Ms. Popovic, all in favor? Okay, the minutes are approved. Are there any declarations of interest either from panel members or staff for any of the items on today's agenda? Wow, it's first seeing none. Thank you. I'm assuming we have no closed files or files to be closed?
That's correct.
Thank you, Madam Secretary Treasurer. And we do have some deferral requests, so I'd like to deal with those before we go to the top of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, we have received another one which matches the planning request. So I have 3,
Okay.
8, and 18.
Okay, so let's start with item 3, 79 Beechwood Avenue. And if we can find the applicant for that. David Stickney. Online, I'm assuming. Okay. Good morning.
So, Mr. Chair, so he appears not to be online currently.
We'll come back to him, then let's deal with the other 2 first.
Okay.
So number 8, 17 Rockfield Drive. And who's the agent there? Ali Shakiri. Also online.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. So I believe staff and yourself are both requesting a deferral.
Yes, there is an error on the face of the zoning notice that we received from the building department. It came to our attention. We reported it.
You're getting a little bit of feedback. Do you have 2 devices on?
No, it's just one device, sir.
Okay, you're sounding better now. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, so there is an error on the zoning notice. Committee of Adjustment staff recommended that we have to defer it so that the error is fixed. We obtained the revised zoning notice and it's submitted, but as a result, we have to defer it.
Well, understand. Also, I believe there was some issue with the posting of the notice, that it was not posted in the front lawn. It was put in a window or something like that.
Not to the best of my knowledge. I was unaware of that, sir.
Okay. Well, in any case, a deferral is going to be warranted because you're changing the contents of the notice. Is
Sure.
there any?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to speak to this item online or in person?
No, Mr. Chair.
No? Okay. If not, then we'll take that into committee for a decision.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to defer this matter at the request of the agent for the applicant.
Thank you, Ms. Popovic. Is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Mr. Dalton, all in favor? Okay, item 8 is deferred. Thank you to the applicant.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you, sir. So the other one was 18. Let's see what 18 is. 11 Greystone Gardens. This was an application for a consent. And Joe Dome is the agent. And Joe is also online.
It's Joe Dome, 133 Torresdale Avenue, agent for the owner.
Good day, sir. You're requesting a deferral?
Yes, the owner would like to respectfully request a deferral to allow for further discussions with planning staff and to allow for some changes to the drawings.
Okay. You're aware that I guess planning staff's primary concern is the appropriateness of the size of the lots that you're proposing?
That's right.
So you may want to do a bit of some research in terms of finding some comps? Just to
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, perfect. Is there anyone else to speak to this item?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, perfect. So we'll take it into committee.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to
Ms.
defer.
Popovic, thank you again. We looking for a repeat?
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Okay, so item 18 is deferred. So if we can come back to item 3, do we have the agent back online now?
So the agent isn't online, but I have 2 people that are not accounted for, so I'm going to see.
If one of them is them?
So just give me 1 second.
Your time
Lily.
is up.
Hi,
There's
Lily.
5 minutes between you and me. Anyway, they're not,
hello?
this
Hello?
is the opportunity where
Liliana?
we could start
Hello?
a plan
Hi.
for further investigation on the drainage.
Hello, Liliana. Leo? Okay. And then Herbert. Herbert Kornhuber?
Yes.
Hello, Herbert.
Yes, I'm speaking.
Hi, which item are you here for?
20 Boylen Street, item number 7.
Okay.
Okay, that's not it. So
Perfect.
let's just
Okay.
go back to the top of the agenda. We'll cross this item when we get to it in order. Sorry? No, no, it's okay. 2, 3. I just want to get my papers back in order. 5, 6, 7. Okay. So let's go back to item 1 then, or let's start with item 1, and we'll come to item 3 as we go through the agenda. If he's there at that time, then we'll deal with it then. So item 1 is 533 Evans Avenue. This is a application to construct a rear 2-story addition. The existing restaurant on the ground floor and residential use on the 2nd floor would be maintained. There are 2 variances being requested. We have a letter of concern on file regarding parking from 284 Beta Street. And the applicant or the agent is Peter.
Good morning, committee. It's Peter Druzik from Arc Design Group, Development Services, Inc.
Good morning, sir. Can you give us a brief overview of your application?
I sure can. This is an existing restaurant where the owners of the operating the Latin Dough restaurant downstairs, and they live in the apartment upstairs. And business is going well, and they want some additional prep area for their kitchen, and requested the additional space in the rear of the building to facilitate an increase in their operations. And as such, just facilitated additional space for their apartment upstairs. There's a concern I know about parking. This is a unique site where it's an older plaza that has been subject to road widenings in the front. We do have 2 legal parking spaces in the front, being paid parking spots under the City of Toronto Commercial Boulevard licensing. So we have licensed parking spaces for the restaurant in the front, and we're not increasing additional seating in the restaurant. So we're maintaining that. It's more on the preps area at the back. And on the residential, we do have a parking space in the back. I have read the concerns regarding the neighbor, regarding the parking issues. We are not changing the parking situation on our property, nor will the operation require additional parking. So that would remain status quo. I believe this is a good use of the site, and it meets I believe it does meet the 4 tests of the Planning Act. And I leave it to the committee if they have any questions.
Thank you, sir. Any questions from committee members? No? And there are no other speakers on this item?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so let's take it into committee for a decision or discussion.
Mr. Chair, based on the submissions made and review of the materials, I believe this matter does meet the 4 tests, in particular for the minor variances. In particular, I note that there will be no change to the parking situation as a result.
Thank you, Ms. Popovic.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dalton. All in favor? Okay, unanimous approval.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, I just want to bring up the attention for item 3. David's just having some technical difficulties joining. So once that's solved, we can.
Okay, sounds good. We'll keep going. Hopefully he'll get it straightened out by the time we get there. So item 2 is 21 Flora Crescent. And this is an application to construct a 1-story rear addition to the existing dwelling. There is 1 variance being requested. Planning is requesting 2 conditions of approval in the event that we approve. Ravine and Natural Forestry Protection has advisory comments, and TRCA has approved it. There's an approval letter on file already. So Nor is our virtual agent or agent online.
Yes, good morning, Mr.
Good
Chair
morning.
and members of the committee. My name is Noor, and I'm the agent for 21 Florida Crescent. We are proposing to construct a rear yard addition, and the proposed side yard setback is 1.2 meters, which is in line with the existing house. However, the required minimum side yard setback is 1.8 meters. We went through the staff conditions. We're okay with the 2 conditions. And I believe TRCA has no objection with the proposal. So
yeah, they just, as I said, they just have advisory comments. They're not objecting.
Okay.
So
we're good with this.
There's no one. I'm assuming there's no one else to speak to this item as well?
No, Mr. Chair.
So you have no objections and you have no comments other than those noted from city departments. Committee members, let's take it into committee then. Questions?
I can ask a question. I noticed that variance, sorry, I'm just pulling it up. Yeah, there's only 1 variance. It says that the altered dwelling will be located 1.2 meters from the north side lot line. When I look at the survey, it appears that the building faces north, so the side lot lines would be either east or west. Am I right?
Look at the site plan.
I'm looking at the site plan and not the survey now, but I can have a look at the survey. This is north I'm looking at.
Oh, good point.
So unless then the site plan is not correct, the arrow, let me check.
I guess, I don't think this clearly, conveys the case to the
No.
interested public. And just out of curiosity, which lot line would it be?
Well, based on this site plan, it's the north.
So in reality, that would be the east if the location map is correct.
But I think the survey is correct, the site plan is not. The survey
would-
shows north.
I would
of where
always assume the
street is.
survey is correct, yeah.
Yeah.
So I do remember we did make a new survey. In the beginning, we submitted an old survey for the zoning, and then for the minor variance, we actually went and had someone to create a new, like we got a new survey. We did not change the site plan. I guess that was missed. Is there a way we can just add a comment to revise this?
No, because you're going to have an incorrect variance the way it sits right now. Plus, you potentially have a notice issue.
What would be the best way to?
You could ask for a deferral and resubmit a correct site plan and a corrected variance.
If I do that before the end of the hearing, if I move my application to the end, can I do that and present a correct drawing?
No, we have to send out proper notice because it's not a north
Okay.
side yard setback.
Okay.
Because if you were actually requesting a north side, it wouldn't be a north side yard setback. It would be a front yard setback to the north, which is not what you're requesting.
I agree. We did an official zoning review and we went with the zoning notice.
I know, but you should be checking that your plan is correct because you put the north arrow in the wrong spot. So they based it on your site plan. Because normally you don't submit your survey with your zoning review. So they didn't make a mistake. Whoever designed the site plan did.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah, change the
can I then, if my only option is to request a deferral, then can I please request a deferral?
Absolutely. Okay, so we have,
And that would be to submit a new site plan, right?
yeah, and to correct the variance.
So with that, I move a motion for deferral to give the applicant time to address the errors with the application.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. Is there a seconder?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. All in favor? Okay, that item is deferred as well.
So just for the applicant to know, you have to provide a new site plan to Toronto Building, obtain a new zoning review, and resubmit all of that with us.
Okay, I'll do that. And can I schedule it? How will I schedule the next hearing?
Once we have all the information, reach out to Adam Borsella. We're not scheduling
Okay,
it until
okay.
we have the new materials.
Okay, I'll be doing that. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Good catch.
Put me on third base.
Yeah. Well, speaking of third, let's see if we can come back to item 3 and if David has resurfaced or has straightened out his issues.
Not yet. I recommend that he try calling in once I see a number appear.
Okay, so let's hold that item then. Okay, so item 4. 32 Grovedale Avenue. This is an application to construct a second-story addition above the existing detached garage. The altered building will be converted into a garden suite. There are 3 variances being requested. One of those has been amended and reduced. Planning is recommending refusal. And I think their issue is variance 3, the soft landscaping coverage. Giuliano Conte, in person, please come up. So, given that you have a negative planning report, maybe you can give us a full presentation on why you think we should approve it.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chair, committee members. My proposal to build a garden suite will serve to house my aging in-laws who currently live with me. Also provide future housing to my children who in this economy would struggle due to affordable and suitable housing, and possibly also the option to rent. The property is admired by friends and neighbors. The rear yard was designed to be maintenance-free, perfect to host large family gatherings, and being able to enjoy meals and association under the existing large gazebo as seen in the site plan. With keeping this gazebo, efforts were made with community planning to increase the soft landscape. Initially, we began at 0%, and then we went as high as 17.5%. This would involve removing an existing shed and also breaking up 32 square meters of hardscape that is existing.
Because essentially, don't worry about your time because we'll pause that. But
all right.
Your current situation is the entire backyard is cemented over, correct?
It's cemented.
Yeah. So right now you have 0 landscaping. And so what you're proposing is better than what you have right now.
What I'm proposing is, yes.
Okay.
Is that enough?
Yep. You can continue if you want, but I think that's what we're trying to get to.
Yeah, so also in the zoning, there was no additional permeable pavers, but in the site plan, there is a section that's being added as well.
Any questions? No? Okay. I've already asked my question. Is there anyone else for this item, or?
No one's registered, nope.
Okay. So, and essentially, if you were to not be granted this application, and you would just walk away and you could leave it at 0 landscaping because it is what it is right now.
It is what it is, but I'd like to get approval to,
of course,
put up the garden suite and add the soft landscaping as requested. But I agree, I'm not at the 50%, but I'm at a third,
right,
plus the permeable pavers.
And how much of the area is permeable pavers?
38 square meters.
Do you know what percentage that would be of the backyard?
It's another third, so that would be
another third.
2/3 of soft landscape, including permeable pavers, and the rest would remain as walkways.
Right, right. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I think we have an idea. Any discussion? No?
Yeah, sir. I have a question for you. I'm just looking at your plans here. What area would be converted to permeable pavers? The whole thing's concrete now, correct?
Yes, so
is it the, east or west side?
It's the south side of the existing garage. Between
no, it isn't. we got problems with our surveys here. Your house fronts south.
Front is south, yes.
So you're converting the backyard, which is on the north end of the property.
Yes.
Partially into permeable pavers? Not entirely, partially, or all of it?
The existing garage, the front of the existing garage, between the back of the house and the existing garage would pretty much all be permeable pavers.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so anyway, is there any other questions, or I guess not? For what it's worth, I think it's a supportable application because we're improving the situation from what it is now substantially. And I think we could condition the permeable pavers as part of the application. Anyway, that's my opinion. I welcome anyone else's.
So what will the total permeable paver represent in terms of soft landscaping?
That plus the soft landscaping will be 1/3 of the backyard is what he's indicating.
Okay.
So 33%.
Yeah, let me just pull up but the permeable pavers don't actually count as soft landscaping.
No.
So that's part of the issue. Where is the site plan? So the permeable pavers are going on the driveway portion? Yeah, I see that. Okay. And we have no objections from any of the neighbors. So,
No.
There's no one here to speak on behalf of this one.
okay, that's the situation. If there's any other discussion or any other questions, if not, we can move to a motion.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I agree with all of your sentiments and find the application to be in keeping with the 4 tests under the Planning Act. I would move approval, and I'm going to make it subject to the installation of proposed permeable pavers as shown on the revised site plan dated March 25th, 2025.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Taylor. Is there a seconder for that motion? Mr. Ross? All in favor? Opposed? Okay. So it passes on a vote of 4-3. Thank you. 4-1. My math is not good today.
Mr. Chair, before we go on, I just want to confirm 2 participants. I believe the agent for item 3 is on, but there's one person I just don't know why they're here. So I'm just going to double check that person first.
Okay.
Liana Leo? Oh, she just muted herself. Just don't worry about the mute. I'll mute you. Can you hear me?
Here I am.
Perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yes. What item are you here for?
I'm here for 393 Rustic Road.
Let's further along, further on. Oh. That's right near the end.
Okay. That item is not for the Committee of Adjustment for Etobicoke, York. You may have it confused.
No, it's
It's
there.
Oh,
item
sorry.
22.
Which item is it?
22.
22? Sorry, that's my.
Last one of the day.
Okay, so the Rustic Road, that one will be item 20, so that's the last one. Thank you. I'm just going to mark you in.
Is that okay that I wait?
Yep, that's fine. I just wanted to confirm just to make sure we didn't miss your item.
No, and my husband is well registered, Frank Mastrocola, so
Oh, I see.
we're
Okay.
both,
Okay.
yeah.
So one of you would have you have 5 minutes. Just make sure you
Got it.
you will have you won't get 10 minutes. You only have the 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, understood.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and then would you want me to connect item 3?
Yeah, if he's available,
Yeah.
let's deal with that. Yeah, so we're back to item
Good
3
morning.
with regards to speak to the deferral.
Good morning, David.
Good morning.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Yes, we have, we're still in anticipation
Can you
of
state
some
your name and
comments
address,
from,
please?
I'm sorry, it's David Stickney. I am at 677 312 13 Side Road in Clearview, Ontario.
Okay, thank you. So can you speak to the deferral?
Yes, there are comments. We have approval from TRCA, but there are comments that we're still waiting for from the city. So in terms of the glazing, I suppose, on the south wall. So we would like to talk to them and confirm if any conditions would apply to the hearing.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be the usual bird-friendly conditions. The other thing I would just mention, if you're going to defer and come back, can you please provide us with a copy of the TRCA approval letter? Because I don't seem to have it on file.
Correct, yes.
Because that would alleviate our decision-making quite a bit.
Of course, yes.
So you're okay with the deferral then?
I am, yes. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So committee members?
So with that, I move a motion for deferral to give the applicant time to finalize things with city staff.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Povic. All in favor? Okay, the item is deferred.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So we're back to item number 5 then, which is 31 Rothsay Avenue. And this is an application to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage. There are 3 variances being requested. Planning has a condition of approval, wanting to tie any approval to current drawings. And we have some form letters of support. And I see Mr. Engelman at the microphone.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair, committee members. David Eagleman, Design Plan Services, Inc., 87 Skyway Avenue, Suite 200. And through you, Mr. Chair, I don't think, unless the committee would like, a full presentation is needed. So just briefly.
I think we're good, yeah.
Yeah, we're agreeable to the recommended condition from planning staff. We've confirmed they're satisfied with the proposal. We have discussed this with the neighbors. The 2 immediately adjacent neighbors are in support of the application, and it is just a new detached dwelling. The lot coverage is mostly a result of the basement. The FSI is mostly a result of the fact that it is a more undersized lot for the neighborhood, and the rear yard setback is also only to the basement. So it is a relatively straightforward application.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Before you go away, any questions? No? Okay, super. And I'm assuming there's no one else to speak to this item?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. So let's take it into committee then.
Unless there are any questions or comments, I will bring a motion, Mr. Chair. I believe this matter does meet the 4 tests. I note in particular that there is support from 3 neighbors, and I believe the agent indicated they were next door neighbors, 2 of them. And on that basis, I'd like to move to approve with the condition of community plan.
Thank you, Mr. Povic. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. All in favor? Okay, unanimous approval. Thank you, Mr. Engelman. Item 6, 86 39th Street. This is an application to construct a new garden suite in the rear yard. There is 1 variance being requested, which pertains to soft landscaping. We have a previous decision from December which at that time had 4 variances. And I think that's all we have. Aaron, welcome. Good morning. Can I just confirm your address is 76 Mill Street? Okay, thank
Can
you.
you just turn on the microphone?
That better?
Yeah, much.
So with regard to the application, this is our second run. The existing building runs basically property line to property line, and the existing driveway is asphalt. Therefore, our coverage, our soft sap landscaping in the backyard is less than what is allowed. Considerably less than what is allowed. So we are proposing a 1.5 car garage with a secondary unit above the garage. That still brings us in, the setbacks are within the guidelines for zoning. It does still conflict with the soft landscaping. Therefore, the client is agreeable to replace the existing asphalt driveway with permeable
Pavers.
pavers. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any questions? No? Is there anyone else to speak to this item?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I think we're good. Thanks. So, sure.
Sure. So with that, I'd like to move a motion, as I believe this application is much improved from the first one. And with that, move a motion for approvals, and there are no conditions.
Would you want to tie it to the permeable pavers being installed? Because
Yes.
Yep. As per the drawings.
Yep. Which would be dated. And
There's just one site plan, so it can just be the
As
site.
per site plan, that's just, yeah, that'll do it.
yeah, and is there a date? Barb can
Let
figure it out.
staff figure it out.
Let staff figure it out.
Okay. Thank you for the motion. Is there a seconder? Thank you.
I'll second and just make the comment that this application was refused in October, but it required considerably more variances regarding 45-degree angular plane projections and height. And those variances have been removed, and I'm satisfied now that with the motion that's been put forward, and I second it.
Excellent. I think the angular planes as a requirement's been removed, so, okay. All in favor? Okay, unanimous approval. Thank you. Okay, so our next item is item 7, which is 20 BOYLEN Street. And this is an application to construct a partial second-story addition, a basement walkout, and a rear deck. There are 2 variances being requested. Forestry is requesting condition 2. And I just want to make a note that a building permit was issued for this in July of 2024, which will be my first question. But anyway, Mark is the agent online. Mark
Good morning.
Rosa. Good morning, sir. Can you give us a bit of a overview on this and explain how you already have the building permit, but you're coming back now for committee?
Okay. My name is Mark Rosa, and I'm the authorized agent on behalf of the property owners at 20 BOYLEN Street, and my address is 3950 McDowell Drive. And I have to speak to the property owners in regards to the building permit. I was only aware that we're going for a variance for the side yard setback, given that we're proposing the second story addition over the existing footprint. However, there's an exception to the zoning bylaw that the side yard setback is actually, the minimum side yard setback is actually larger. Therefore, we can't use the existing conditions for the side yard setback. So the property owners did not want to further develop the property by expanding the footprint. So through the design process, we have retained the existing first floor exterior walls. Although we are maintaining these walls, and due to a zoning bylaw exception for this lot, the side yard setback is 1.8 meters for the new construction. On the south side yard setback, we have an existing setback of 0.76 meters, and we are proposing 0.76 meters. And on the north side yard setback, we have an existing setback of 0.82 meters, and we are proposing 0.82 meters. Our original design had a second zoning bylaw that we were non-compliant with, and that was the maximum eaves projection. And after speaking to planning staff about the zoning review and our proposal, we were advised to redesign. Therefore, we were able to remove that variance from this application. To conclude my presentation, I want to note that the property owners have visited the neighbors to explain what they're proposing and have answered questions and resolved issues that have come up with the neighbors. And thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. I'm still a little bit confused on how it is that they obtained the building, like you're not changing, are you changing from what was originally issued in the building permit?
I'll have to confirm with the property owners.
So you weren't aware of that permit being issued then?
Sorry?
You said you weren't aware of that building permit being issued?
I was not aware that the building permit was issued.
But the construction has started, so you were aware of that?
Correct. Yes.
So were you under the impression that the construction was started without a permit?
Yes, and that because of the side yard setback, that was the issue for the variance application.
Okay. Still, okay. It's still, there's still a disconnect here for me, because the building permit was issued for the construction that's taken place now in that form? Or was it issued for something else?
Again, I'm trying to contact the property owners right now, because I am in the understanding that construction could not have started because of the side yard setback.
But you've submitted photos showing that construction started.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just trying to confirm at the moment.
Did he also say you're removing variance number 2? So you're only now looking for variance 1?
Yeah, there should be an updated planning report online. 1 second. That's dated March 27th. And it should only have the side yard setback. So basically, we reduced the roof, the overhang by 6 inches, therefore removing the roof projection variance. But the side yard setback is staying.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay, so do we want to hold this item down until we get an answer, or I don't know what?
Oh, sorry, if I may, I just got confirmation that the building permit was not issued because of the zoning issue. So I'm not sure why it was noted that a building permit was issued.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand where I took that note from. Whether I looked up, I think I may have looked up building permit applications because I don't think it's part of the file. Sorry, committee members.
It was.
Yeah, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Bill, was there anything on file for the building permit? There isn't. Okay, so that's something that I pulled up myself then. And it was just a curiosity for me because the photo showed that construction had started. So I want to know whether they started it with a permit or not. No, so it's not there. But the permit, from what I recall, was actually for a new residential construction.
Which is under construction, and then when I guess something somewhere got figured out.
But there's no order to comply either.
No, and then I guess buildings told them to go back to committee of adjustment, which is why they're here now looking for the one, not the two variances.
Yeah, I get that. I'm just trying to figure out how we got here. Okay.
Good question.
So okay. So as the applicant, you're not aware of what the contents of that permit are?
I am now aware. I just spoke to the property owner. So a building permit was applied for, but it was not issued due to this zoning, the non-compliance with the side yard setback and the roof eaves, which is shown through our zoning review, the preliminary zoning review. Yes, and then through that we applied for a minor variance application.
Okay. Okay, so I kind of get it now. Yeah, there was just something missing there. Okay, so hold on. I think we have an area resident wanting to speak to this issue as well.
So, Mr. Chair, two of them are online, but I'm just going to connect with the first one and just let them know that.
Okay, thank you.
Jean?
Oh, hi.
Hey, good
yes,
morning.
it's Jean. Actually, good morning. I'm at 22 Boylen Street, and my spouse, Herbert Kornhuber, he's also online.
Okay, if we can get one of you to speak and...
Okay. Actually, Herbert, can you speak to it a little bit better than me? Sorry, we're just in separate rooms. And he just needs to be... no, sorry. Not for anything. Yeah, it's just that we're on different computers, that's all, in different offices in our room. But because he's a bit more familiar with drawings such as this sort of thing, can we let him speak?
Your choice. Pick
It's
whichever
easier for
one you
you.
want.
I can connect to him because I see him online.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm unmuted now.
Okay,
so as far as we understand the drawings here is there's two issues. One apparently in this meeting was just discussed is no longer an issue, which is the side yard setback, or the roof one. I'm very confused now. So the roof line, the overhang of the eaves trough, we both decided we don't see this as a concern. We see this is already in place, like this would require changes to the existing structure already, right? So the way the roof is overhanging, we're talking a few inches. We're not really concerned about that. And the other variance is basically the side entrance to the basement in the back. Is that correct?
I don't think that's a variance.
Oh, okay.
So it's
then
basically
I don't understand what
it's just the roof overhang and the side yard setback. Those are the two issues.
But what does the side yard back set? What does that really mean to us as a neighbor is what I don't understand. Like there's no structure there other than the stairs that weren't there before.
Well, if you don't have an issue with it, then we don't have an issue with it.
Yeah, no, we don't have an issue with the side yard backset. So like it's an existing fence that's there. There's the structure was there before in the same place. As long as there's no window put in on that side. The distance between the two houses wall to wall, like stucco to stucco, is basically 59 inches, which is supposedly slightly under what it should be, but that's like from 50 years ago. We have no concerns on that,
Okay,
as long
yeah.
as that doesn't change.
Yeah, the location isn't changing, but the height of the building is changing, so.
The height of the building has changed, correct.
And you're okay with that?
We're okay with that, yes.
Perfect. Thank you. This was easy. Any questions from panel members? No? Okay, so let's come back to the agent. Oh, is there anyone else?
No.
No,
There's no one
okay.
else.
So Mark?
Yes.
Okay, so what are you asking for now? Are you saying you only want one variance or still two variances?
So it will only be one variance, which will be for the side yard setback on the north and south side.
And still at 0.82 and 0.76 for north and south respectively, right?
Correct.
Good.
Okay, Mr. Taylor?
Yeah, I'm comparing your plans well, with respect to the south side yard setback, 0.76. I looked at the survey and the existing two-story wood frame structure, X to remain. I don't know what X means. Anyway, the south yard setback is 0.3 meters, or was. Is that correct? So you're actually improving the side yard situation on the south side? Have you got access to the survey? It's in Imperial, but one foot 6 inches, I think, is about 0.3 meters.
1 point. We're not building any further past the north and south side exterior walls.
So does that mean the
So-
survey was wrong?
I mean, I would believe what the survey says. Let me just, not sure why.
Can you look at the survey and see if you see my
Yes, I
point?
have it up.
Okay, now take a look at the south side yard
Yeah.
setback, and you'll see it's 1.6 inches.
Yes.
Okay, so that's about 0.3 meters. And now you're asking for 0.76. So has that south wall been changed since this survey was done? Or was it surveyed incorrectly?
When the property owners purchased the place, those exterior walls have not been moved. They're, as far as we know, they're still remaining from when the property, that existing house, has been constructed.
What's the date of the survey?
So if that survey were done in metric, it should have said presumably 0.76 meters, not 0.3.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is why using an old survey for an application is not a good idea.
No.
I wonder if they interpreted it as 1.5 versus 1 foot 5 inches. I don't know.
Well, it says 1 foot hyphen 6 inches.
At the back, it's 5 inches.
Yeah, like 1 foot 6 is 0.48 meters.
Okay. My point's the same, it's just the number was wrong.
But it's not.
Yeah, I think it's just indicative of the challenge we're having in understanding.
This is the second survey.
You know,
issue this morning.
there and
we've turned back items because they didn't have a current survey. And, you know, this is exactly why.
This is crazy. And this survey was done in 2024.
Which one is that? Because I've got a, well, this is the plan of subdivision. Okay, where's the survey?
It's on the survey link.
The survey done by Unwin, Murphy, and Estienne was done December 18th, 1967.
67, what am I looking at? I clicked the survey link and this is what I'm looking at. Very recent survey, done in Imperial. Yeah.
I'm getting a different file.
Wow.
Survey. Oh, here it is. Yeah, it says 1967.
Well, I see the December 18th, 1967.
Yeah, the architect just added it to their drawings, and their drawings were done in whenever that was, in 24. But the survey itself was done in 1967.
Okay.
So that may not be the current situation.
Doesn't look like it is.
So what's the current status of the construction? Is it on hold?
Correct. What you see in the photo is the existing condition.
Because the temptation here is to defer this until you get a current survey. Unless you can explain the inconsistency.
Give me one second. I'm just trying to calculate here.
That's 1 foot 5 inches.
Yeah.
1 foot 6 inches,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
What is that in metric?
0.48 for the 1 foot 6. So that'd be about 0.4. 1 foot 5 would be about 0.4. And he's asking for 0.76.
Yeah, which if we
better.
grant him the, yeah, but yeah, but if you grant him that, and this is correct, then he's still non-compliant.
That's
Well,
right.
in the planning memo is saying it's just recognizing the existing condition.
Yeah,
It's just,
but
there's the discrepancy between the survey and the actual site plan done in 2024.
yeah, but my concern is this:
problem.
if we approve if we approve the variance at 0.76 and 0.82, and he's actually at 0.4 and 0.48, then
He doesn't know what he needs.
then he doesn't have, well, yeah, then he's still non-compliant, even with the variance.
Yeah, and then at time of when the inspector comes out, and if there is a discrepancy, they'll have to come back.
Yeah.
So they either defer or they can risk it today to go ahead or defer.
Bill, just while we're at this, what's 3 foot 2 inches in metric?
0.975.
And he's asking for 0.82?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking at the plans that they submitted for their building permit. The error isn't on the zoning review, it's on their plans, because they showed a setback of 2.5 feet on their
On-
site plan for buildings.
Okay.
They should defer.
Yeah, that's my inclination at this point. I leave it up to the committee members for a motion.
Well, yeah, I'll just make a comment. Yeah, I think in the interest of the client here, it's important to make sure they're getting the variance that they need. And based on what we're looking at here right now, it doesn't, it looks like perhaps it doesn't give them what they need, and they potentially need to revise their variance requests in accordance with the survey.
But do you want a new survey?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you'd have to say that in your motion. New survey, new site plan, new zoning review.
Yeah, it has to be new because this one's insufficient.
I mean, potentially you could find that the old survey is no longer correct, and they may not need to change their drawings or but we don't know which one's wrong.
That's 1.5 feet. I don't think you're gonna gain that.
It's a crapshoot at this point, so.
Yeah.
So with that, for motion?
I think so.
Okay, well, with that, I would move a motion for deferral to give the applicant time to get a new survey, site plan, and zoning review.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. Seconder?
I'll second
Mr.
that.
Taylor, all in favor? Okay, your item is deferred. Bill and Don. Okay, item 8 was also deferred. So let's do a couple more before we do a break. Okay. So item 9.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, I just want to confirm if the agent's
Yeah.
present. Nick? Oh, perfect. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so item 9, Locks Avenue, to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage. And there are 5 variances which were reduced down to 4 being requested. Forestry is requesting condition 2. And we have an letter of objection from number 20, which they have some issues with the trees. And our agent is online.
He's actually in person.
Oh, he's in person. Okay, even better. Good morning.
Good morning. Nicola Basciano, owner of 10 PHLOX.
Okay, I think we're going to need a presentation on this one.
Okay. Couple items. The tree declaration was filled in incorrectly, and a couple of trees weren't declared. It was brought to our attention by planning. We revised the declaration, consulted with urban forestry about the Colorado spruce in the front, revised the driveway setup to stay out of the TPZ zone, provide an arborist report to accompany that, and got a favorable response from urban forestry. Said proceed.
Okay, so that addresses the issue
yeah.
raised by the neighbor. Okay. Any questions from panel members? No? Okay. We still have a couple of people online, so we'll ask you to take a seat and have you come back.
No problem.
So I believe first speaker is Michael George. Michael George, is he in person or online? Online, okay, because it said in person. Mr. George? Michelle, sorry.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, good morning.
Oh, good morning, committee. Yes, I did submit the application, and I looked online today, and the application had been changed to take into account the points in my note.
Right, because you're the one that submitted the letter of concern.
Yes, that's
Yes,
me.
thank you.
Thank you.
You've closed the circle
you,
for me. Super. Thank you. Is there anything else you wanted to? That was basically your issue, right?
Yes, that was my
Okay, super.
issue.
Super. So then if we can move on
Thank
to, thank you, Andy Choles.
Morning.
Good
Name's,
morning.
Andy Choles. I live at 12 Jasmine Avenue in Long Branch, about 3 blocks south of the location of this application. I'm a board member of the Long Branch Neighborhood Association. We have a mission statement to protect, celebrate, and enhance the neighborhood of Long Branch. This application of 10 PHLOX has a number of variances against it. The LBNA, not a lot of trouble with the building itself, more concerned about the very tall, magnificent Colorado blue spruce surviving this build. I confess I was a little confused when I first looked at the file, since there seemed to be two competing tree declarations filed by the applicant. Declaration on February the 20th stated no trees would be harmed. The revised application on March 20th stated a city tree would be removed. There's also a site plan filed on March 26th showing tree protection zones around the front yard tree and another large backyard tree. There's a letter of objection filed by the neighbor you just heard recently there, pointing out the significant discrepancies between the two tree declarations. The report from City Forestry dated March 27th seems to indicate harm or destruction was likely, and pointed out the applicant was required to file a necessary permit to remove a privately owned tree, which would not be the tree in the front yard. Finally, there's an arborist report of April the 2nd assuring us this tree will not be at risk of injury. This tree is a large, and a large Norway maple in the backyard, which is a private tree, would both be protected. I do hope this will be the result in the protection and the survival of that Colorado blue spruce tree in the front yard and the Norway maple in the back. I've been advised by other LBNA members that the city tree has already undergone an unauthorized prune, slashing off the lower branches, presumably to accommodate a truck parking spot. I'm no expert on pruning trees, but I have learned that one does not cut off branches flush with the trunk, as was done on this tree at some point in the past. Each branch needs to be trimmed a little further from the trunk, leaving a little knob which will heal over time. Trimming the branches flush with the trunk leave a much larger open wound which takes longer to heal. The driveway, which I see has now been altered somewhat inside the TPZ zone. The parking pad, the reduction of the front yard setback, and moving the building closer to the street all these infractions remove plantable space in the front yard, reduction of 43% instead of the required 50%. I've seen many times that even after proper tree protection zone is set up, it is used as a garbage bin for construction debris. Any and all of these factors would have a negative effect on that front yard tree. As mentioned, the house itself is less of a concern. The LBNA is mostly concerned about the city tree in the front yard surviving this build and to go on to provide the health benefits that trees can offer the environment and our neighborhood. I've mentioned before in previous presentations to the COA that trees on lots north of Lakeshore Boulevard seem to be under more of a threat than trees south of Lakeshore. Trees need to be preserved and protected wherever they are in the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Any questions from committee members? No? Okay, if I can get, wasn't Nick, who was it? Sorry? Nick? Yeah, please come back. If there's any comments you want to make on Mr. Chole's presentation, now's your chance.
We consulted with urban forestry. There was quite a bit of consultation between planning, urban forestry, back to planning, back to urban forestry. The original was to remove the tree. Urban forestry recommended don't remove it, adjust your driveway around it, you'd have an easier time. So we appeased them, revised the plan, and stayed out of the tree protection zone. The existing driveway is going to remain, which is in the tree protection zone, which is allowed. Any other driveways outside the tree protection zone. In terms of protecting garbage going in it, I'm on site all the time on all my projects. I can't control people dumping stuff in there. I can control removing it every day, that's all.
For sure.
In terms of pruning the tree, there is a gentleman that lives on 29th Street that only has single car parking. He needs parking for the winter time, not to park on the road, so I allow him to park there. We had to trim the tree, otherwise it's hitting the roof of his truck. The tree hasn't been pruned in probably 70 years.
Okay. And it's a city tree that we're talking about, right?
It is a city tree. We weren't aware of that because it's a Colorado blue spruce, which is not a species that the city plants normally, but it was incorrectly planted by the previous owner maybe 70 years ago, so now the city's inherited it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why they're requesting a condition to protect a private tree, but I haven't seen any comments about the city.
The private tree's in the rear. It's a Norway maple. We're nowhere near that tree and tree protection zone, but the existing garage goes into the tree protection zone by about a foot. So my arborist said that it's not going in the roots. Just remove it by hand, and you should be safe.
That's fine. I'm just trying to understand why they haven't asked us to impose a condition on the city tree.
What type of condition?
For permit to injure or damage, right?
Okay. I got correspondence from the city. From urban forestry.
Thank you for providing the revised site plan. As we discussed, Urban Forestry has denied the removal of the 43 centimeter diameter blue spruce based on supporting material provided to Committee of Adjustment. However, the revised plan indicates that the existing drive will remain as it is, and the tree in question will be fully protected during construction. If this plan is approved by Community Planning and the COA, Urban Forestry has no issues with the revised plan. Condition 2 will apply to the private tree in the rear yard.
Okay, that explains it. Okay, thank you. Any other questions? No. Thank you.
No problem.
Take it to committee then.
So with that, I'd like to move a motion for approval for the application as amended, because now there's 4, not 5 variances. As I believe the application meets the 4 tests, subject to the forestry condition.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. Is there a seconder? Thank
I'll
you,
second
Mr.
that, Mr. Chair.
I think Mr. Ross beat you to it. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous approval. Thanks, Nick. Okay, item 10. This is number 5, LORNE Bruce Drive, and it's an application to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage. There were 12 variances requested, which have now been reduced to 10, 3 of which have been also further reduced. Planning has a condition of approval in the event that we approve, requesting that the approval be tied to drawings. And we have forestry requesting condition 3. There are some form letters of support. And that's all we have. And who's our speaker? Sarah Berkeley online.
North Sign Group, 2 St. Clair Avenue, West Toronto.
Good morning.
Morning.
I don't think we need a full presentation. Just wanted to, if you could do us a brief overview, and I have one question, but.
Yep. I guess just really the important thing to know here is this is a proposal for a new 2-story home that's designed to accommodate a large multi-generational family. So it does include an in-law suite located on the main floor for accessibility. So that is why the main floor is a little bit larger to accommodate that extra space. But the second floor is actually pulled back to reduce the impact on the neighboring properties. The length and the depth also does include 1-story extensions. So the overall impact is not quite as great as it may seem. I won't get into all the variances, but I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Yeah, I just have one question. Planning is requesting it be tied to what they describe as drawings of March 24th, 2025. Are those the same as what you have posted here as your revised drawings?
Yes, correct. Those are the updated ones that were submitted. We made the changes after discussing with planning and going over some of their concerns.
Okay, that was my only question. Other questions from committee members? No. Okay then, thank you. Are there any other speakers on this item? I don't believe there are.
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, super. So let's take it into committee then. Any discussion?
Motion?
Motion's good too.
Sure. I'd like to move a motion for approval. I believe the application meets the 4 tests, subject to the planning March 24th, 25th memo.
Okay, as revised?
As revised.
Okay, all in favor?
12 to 10.
And urban forestry?
Correct, and forestry. Thank you.
Not that we want to correct anything. Is there a seconder?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous approval. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we do one more and then take a break. So item 11.
So, Mr. Chair, just a quick update on this. So we have a Rosemary Sutton going to speak on behalf as the agent.
As the agent, okay.
Oh, are you the owner? So are you going to speak or would you? So we have Dale online as well. So that's your agent, correct? Okay, so I will assume he would talk.
So which one would?
So I believe Dale will be the one talking.
Okay. So this is 36 DEANEWOOD Crescent, and it's an application to construct a new deck in the rear yard. There is one variance being requested. Planning has two conditions of approval relating to bird-friendly treatments. TRCA has already issued a permit, and we have a number of confirmations of support from the neighbors. And are we speaking to Dale then?
From ND Designs, my address is 49 Markham Crescent, Stony Creek. So yeah, we're just looking to extend this deck a little bit from what was originally there when we're going to replace it.
Okay.
There's no major impact. We're still within all the setbacks, so.
We're good. I don't think we need a presentation on it.
Beautiful.
Any questions? No? Okay, so let's, Mr. Taylor?
Yeah, I'm just wondering about the community planning condition. I'm wondering, do you understand how construction in accordance with bird-friendly guidelines should apply to a deck? I'm thinking
Not
this is
exactly.
just a horizontal.
Well, they've laid it out actually in their condition. They've explained it. Just hopefully they.
I didn't read the explanation. I just read the condition.
Hopefully the applicants read it as well.
Okay, so then I would ask the applicant, are you aware of and okay with community planning's two conditions of approval?
Yes, on our side, we're okay with all their conditions.
Well, if there's no further questions, I'm prepared to move. I'm satisfied the application meets the 4 tests under the Planning Act. And I move approval subject to the 2 conditions requested by community planning.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. All in favor? Okay. It's unanimous approval. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, can we take a 10-minute break? So back, do you want to do 5 after, 10 after? 10 after 11? Perfect, thank you.
Hi there. Hi, I'm new to this whole process.
Okay. So yeah, that one hasn't been deferred yet. So that's the one after this one. So we're right here right now.
Yeah.
If you'd like to speak, yeah, that's no problem. Just fire this, fill this up. Full information and then what's the decision made, you should send that. So that would be. Oh, perfect.
So it's ready for the first.
So they should have it.
Yeah, so, but if it's going to close.
Yeah, we'll see what the agent requires. If it is deferred, then next year. Yeah, no, but that's how we have this. Okay, we're about to get started.
Okay, let's start back, please. So welcome back. So we're on item 12, 30. Why am I stuck with this one? 30 ELLINS Avenue. This is an application to construct a new detached garage in the rear yard. There are 3 variances being requested. We have support from a couple of the neighbors. We have a letter of concern from number 28. And we have nothing from city departments. And we have Charles Chan is the agent online.
Yes, good morning, members of the Committee of Adjustment. And my name is Charles Chenwai. I'm at 20 Smithwood Drive, and I'm the agent of the owner.
Okay, I don't think we need a full presentation. I think we're aware of the application. Just if you're good with perhaps giving us a brief overview, and then if you have some questions.
Sure. So I just want to start with the letter of concern from the neighbors at 28. That small shed that she's referring to, that she circled on her last page of that PDF, will be removed because it'll be on the way of the garage. And then the balance of the items on her concerns about her fence, I'll suggest to the owner to speak to her so that anything that may be leaning on the fence or like she's concerned about the space behind the garage, that could be resolved. Because
I think her
nothing to do
concern.
with the,
I think her concern is that the space between the structure and the fence is going to become a storage area again. And she's
correct. So that's what I'm gonna reach out to the owner and tell them to talk to them and and to also make sure that I tell the owner not to like just leave junk in there or anything, to leave it empty.
I think
So that will be okay.
that's the issue. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But aside from that, the owner is just looking to, they have 2 cars, so they want to park their cars inside the garage. They're currently parking tandem on the existing driveway in the back.
Yep.
And then the other item on the notice is just because they want to have the similar aesthetics as the main house. That's why we're going with a little bit of a higher variance for the roof height, and that's it. It's only 0.35 centimeters extra.
Okay.
And then the item number 2, the reason that we have such a variance is because it's a corner lot, and then these houses, the width of the properties 12 meters. So to have a garage that would comply, it wouldn't be complying with the minimum size of the garage. So that's why we came in front of you today in the hearing for approvals for something that's minor in variance.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? No? Okay, if we can take it back to committee then. I'm assuming there's no one else to speak to this item?
No, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
So with that, I'd like to make a motion of approval, as I believe the application meets the 4 tests, and there are no conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton.
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Popovic. All in favor? Okay, unanimous approval.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Okay, number 13, 9 ELSTREE Road. This is an application to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage. There are 2 variances being requested, and we have a letter of objection from number 7. And Alan Diaz is the agent online, I'm assuming.
Good morning, members of the committee. My name is Alan Diaz. I am from 2326 Burr Oak Avenue. I am the agent for the owner of 9 ELSTREE Road. I would just like to address the letters of objection from the owner. I would just like to say that we have been in contact with the owners, and we've agreed to make some adjustments to the plans. But in doing so, we may have to trigger a front yard setback variance. So, in other words, I would like to request a deferral for this application, just so we can amend our application and resubmit to the zoning department.
Okay, and which neighbor were you in discussion with? Was it number 7 or number 5?
Number 7. Number 7.
Okay, because I think we have number 5 as a speaker as well. So have you had discussion with them?
No, we have not.
Okay. So if they're here, I just want them to address this issue before we move to the deferral vote.
So, Mr. Chair, we did have a last minute addition. She's in chambers right now. And we have one, oh, actually, David Black
is David Black here? Can we?
Is David Black?
No?
I think he is online. He's online, so I can connect him first.
Hello?
Hey, good morning. So it looks like your neighbor wants to do some changes and is asking for a deferral. So I just wanted to get your input on that.
If they'd like a deferral, I'm fine with the deferral. I do have comments to make once the application goes forward.
Perfect. Maybe you guys can have some discussion in between, so see if you can resolve any of those issues.
We can. My issue is with the overall size for a new build, so far out of the range of the current bylaw.
Okay. But you have no problem with them deferring today?
Not at all.
Thank you. And is there anyone else here then?
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Good morning. So as you've heard, it looks like we're going to be deferring this. So just wanted to get your input on the deferral.
Yes, we did have a discussion with Mr. Alan Diaz and the
Sorry, we need your name and address.
Oh, sure. It's Halinka Dipka at 7 ELSTREE Road.
Okay, so you're the one who wrote the letter in?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And you guys are in process with discussions, so you understand why we need the deferral then?
We're in discussion, but then when we did meet afterwards, we were, I guess, in the discussion, it was just mentioned how the size of the new dwelling would only be 6% bigger than the allowable maximum. And when we did the calculations, it was much more than 6%. So just want to make sure that's brought into consideration.
Well, I think that's something for you to discuss after we defer with
sure.
them.
And that's fine too.
Okay, so you're good with the deferral?
Deferral's fine.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll take it back to committee then for a vote on the issue of deferral.
Mr. Chair, I will move to defer this matter to allow the parties to have ongoing discussions and, with any luck, resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Povic.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. All in favor? Okay, the item is deferred. Oh, jeez. No, I thought I put this on silent.
Maybe not.
Yeah. No, that's someone wanting me to buy. Bill, okay. So, okay, thank you. Let's move on to the next item, 14. Okay, item 14, 25 BEAUCOURT Road. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. To construct a second-story addition above the existing dwelling, there are 2 variances being requested. Ravina Natural Forestry has advisory comments and TRCA has advisory comments. There are no other department comments. Nothing from planning. And we have someone online, Antonella.
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Good morning. So if you could...
So,
yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead. No, I was going to say I can provide a short presentation. There are 2 minor variances. As you see, we have started the TRCA process, and so far they're supportive. We understand that we will need to consult with ravine and natural features protection, but otherwise no conditions. I'm happy to answer questions about this project.
Okay, given that I believe I have an area resident wanting to speak to this item as well, so you may want to give us a bit of an overview on the project.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware. Well, as I said, they're minor 2 variances. We're only requesting a second-story addition to the existing footprint with a porch at the back. The lot coverage is over by 5.83%, and as well, the FSI is only over by 27 square meters, quite minor in nature and really in keeping with the development on the street. There aren't that many bungalows left, and there's been quite a bit of development of BOYLEN already. So we feel it is definitely, fits the development patterns that are going on right now. I'd be happy to talk to you again about their concerns.
Thank you. Any questions before we move to the next speaker? No? Okay, so do we have Andrew online?
Hi there. Yep.
Good morning.
Andrew Stretch. I'm at 102. Hi, good morning. I'm at 102 Bonnyview Drive, which is the property directly below. I'm quite below grade from BOYLEN, so this property backs directly. Our backyards face each other. Yeah, my only concerns are with this being ravine protected land, that trees are upheld and kept as they are. This is going to have a significant change to the privacy of my backyard with having a second story there. Again, with me being below grade, I have a pool. My entire backyard's there, so any greenery, shrubs, trees that are currently protecting our privacy, that's my concern, that stays as is.
Okay, understood. Maybe we can get the agent to address that. Antonella, I'll get you to come back, please.
Oh, yes, here I am. So there's no plan to remove any trees, and as you see, it's definitely protected by the natural features department. There might be some shrubbery that, will be replaced by other shrubbery, but certainly there's no intention of impeding on anyone's privacy. The construction will work, as you see that photo right there, just next to the home to provide a porch. But aside from that, there's nothing planned that won't be, controlled as well by the TRCA.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from committee members? No? And no one else is registered to speak?
No, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Would you say that your level is lower? Yeah, the backyards are facing each other, but
Are you addressing the second deputant, Andrew?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks, if you look on Google Maps, it looks like so they're up here and then he's down here.
Right, okay.
Yes, you have to.
Yeah, I'm directly below. If you see the hedge line in the 25 BOYLEN property,
Sorry,
you see a couple
who's
smaller
speaking?
cedars.
Sorry, hello.
It's Andrew Stretch. Hello? Andrew Stretch, 102 Bonnyview Drive.
So there's only one speaker at a time.
Sorry, we kind of went out of order here because Mr. Ross wanted to ask a question for the previous speaker, but I think that's been clarified. There is a grade differential. There are no trees being removed. If any trees were to be removed, they would require permission through forestry or natural ravine protection, and that's not being requested. It's not being indicated. Okay. Any other questions? So let's take it back into committee.
Mr. Chair, if there are no other questions on the basis of the representations made by the owner that no trees or shrubs would be removed, that TRCA has no objections, and Ravine and Natural Forestry has advisory comments only, I believe this matter meets the 4 tests. I move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Povic. Is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Bill. All in favor? Unanimous approval.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Antonella. Item 15, 25 Algoma Street. This is an application to construct a rear one-story addition. The altered dwelling will contain a secondary suite. There are 2 variances being requested. Excuse me. We have some support form letters. We have advisory comments from Metrolinx, and a site plan was provided in the additional materials. And virtual for the agent, Allison.
My name is Allison Boyce. I'm the architect and agent representing this project. I reside at 71 7th Street in Toronto, and I'm here today to present the minor variance application for 25 Algoma Street. As mentioned in this description, we are asking for 2 minor variances. The first being the maximum permitted dwelling length, which is 17 meters as of right. We are asking for 19 meters. These 2 additional meters will be used to create a 3rd bedroom for my clients, as well as create a generous and functional kitchen for my clients who are also talented bakers. In addition to this, it allows the space to create a secondary suite in the basement, complete with a private accessible entrance via the rear walkout. My clients love their neighborhood and they are eager to invest here so that they can stay here in their forever home. They love bungalows and they envision staying in this home well into their golden years. So they're looking forward to that. The other variance that we're asking for is a matter of keeping an alignment along the west lot line. So it's to do with the eaves projection. And this is needed in order to align the existing wall with the wall of the addition and construct a traditional roof design to maintain the character of the existing home. The diagram I provided, which is labeled as before and after diagrams here, just illustrates that our home is currently set quite a bit forward of the neighboring properties. The addition to the rear that we are asking for is to more closely align with our neighboring properties and provide everything my clients need without going to a 2nd story. They do wish to remain in a bungalow. We have spoken to neighbors and had oral support from everyone we've spoken to, and we have 6 letters of support on our file for the project. So we're asking today for your consideration in the application of the minor variance approval for this project.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from panel members? No? Okay. Don't bet on it. Okay, and we have another speaker on this item.
Oh, hi. Good morning. My name is Tina, and I am the backyard neighbor of the applicants. So I just wanted to find out about the timeline, how loud it will be, because we have 3 kids and we use backyard.
Could you tell us your name and address, please?
Sorry.
Nina Bulgakova, Melrose Street 114. We are neighbors through the backyard. So our backyard is attached to their backyard.
Okay, sorry,
Yeah,
go
so
ahead.
this is
Go ahead with your present. Yeah.
our house.
Sorry, you're kind of fading in and out, so we're having difficulty hearing you.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to find out about the time frame for the project to get an understanding if you'll be able to use our backyard during summer. Because we have 3 kids, we love our house as well. I just need to figure out how it is going to work. Because this is the first time we hear about this project. No one contacted us.
Okay, so you just want to know the timing. You don't have any concerns about what's being proposed.
I have some concerns in regards to is it going to be loud? Is it going to affect the rainwaters in our backyard?
Okay.
How is it going to affect our backyard? That's my question. Because they're going to dig a basement, right, for the addition?
Yes.
So is it going to affect our backyard as well?
It shouldn't, but I'll let the applicant answer that question.
But it will.
Sure.
Okay, so.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll come back to Allison, please.
Hi, Yanina. We anticipate construction as early as summer. That right now we're going through the committee of adjustment approvals, and then we will continue with design and then go into permitting. We are working with a reputable builder who has a great relationship with neighbors, so I'm happy to have conversations there and address any concerns you may have. Things are going to be done, constructed well, and according to building code, you shouldn't have issues whatsoever on your property with rainwater or anything of that nature. As of right, we could go up a second story, which we felt wasn't something our clients wanted and would ultimately have a bigger impact on our neighbors. So we're asking for this additional length, thinking that the project is going to maintain its character and be very similar in scale and nature to what currently is there. I am happy to reach out to you after this or come knock on your door and answer any further questions if you've got them. And the builder would obviously be happy to do the same.
I think there's a site plan that was submitted a little bit late, which illustrates quite well sort of where you're going to wind up with your addition, where it's basically lining up with the other two immediate neighbors. Maybe that is something you could present to your neighbor in the back for explanation.
Sure.
Any questions from committee members? No? Okay, we'll take it into committee. Thank you. Sure.
So with that, I do believe the application is a good one and meets the 4 tests. As such, I'd move a motion for approval as there are no conditions.
Okay, Mr. Dalton. Seconder, Mr. Ross. All in favor? Okay, unanimous approval. Thank you. Thank you to the presenters. Okay, item 16, 62 Woodbury Road. This is an application to construct a new detached garage in the rear yard and a new front porch. There are 7 variances being requested, one of which has been reduced since originally submitted. And we have 6 form letters of support. No comments from city departments. And are we back to the same Charles that we had earlier?
Yes.
Online? Yes.
The same Charles from earlier.
Good day, sir. I don't think we need a full presentation on this.
I just want to say that I did send in a waiver because it wouldn't be 7 variants. I'm just double checking. Just double checking the original notice.
While you're
it's always been six items.
Okay.
Even the original notice was 6 items.
Sorry, you still have 7 variances. One has been reduced. Are you saying you're dropping one of them?
No, the original notice had also 6. I'm not sure what's the 7th item.
Well, maybe there are 7, and one of them has to do with the energized outlet for an EV. But just wondering.
Well, I know if you're reading it as 7, it's 7 because it's the only changes that I did was to the reduced item. So all these items are still the same except for the reduced item.
Yeah, you've reduced the height.
Correct, and that was due to the planner that I spoke to prior to the hearing.
Okay, so my question then is, why no charging outlet? Like, what's the concern? Like, what's your hardship there?
So the reason that we're not providing a charging outlet inside the garage is because the homeowner already have one installed at the front part of their property that's attached to the front of the house. And then there is an image of that on.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yes, that's the one. It's already ready for it.
Okay, so it's not fully completed, it's just roughed in at this point.
It's roughed in, but it'll be easy just to put in the head of the plug whenever they're ready. They do
Okay.
not currently
So
own
then-
any EVs yet.
So then you would be amenable to a condition stating that a charging outlet will be provided somewhere on the premises.
Correct. Which the planner was okay with this item because I addressed the same information to him that the owners do have the plug ready. And he said that he doesn't know why the zoning examiner put this as an item at the notice, in his opinion.
Any new garage requires that now. But, okay,
So are you withdrawing this variance?
no.
No.
No, we're gonna amend it with a condition, basically saying that they're providing it elsewhere on the site. Because he says he has one already on the side of the house. But my concern is it's not fully installed. It's just, from the photo that I saw, it's just a rough end.
Oh.
Yes, just the head of the plug needs to be put.
No, I understand that.
Which should be, yeah.
And if you're okay with that condition, I think,
Yes, I'm okay with the condition of installing the head of the plug. That
okay,
wouldn't be an issue.
thanks. Any other questions? No, I think we can do that, but I thought the simplest way to deal with it, Phil, would be to approve the variance, but condition that a energized outlet must be provided somewhere else on site. And he's already got one. He just needs to finish the install.
I'm just concerned that that might be like a building code or a safety issue, and that's why they want it in a specific location. So I would either make a decision on the application the way it is, or the applicant comply with that part of the bylaw.
Well, I think the condition wouldn't compel them to have it
What-
in that location. They would just have to have it somewhere on that property. And the building code can determine where it needs to go. No?
I think it's either they provide it or they don't. Like, they comply with that part of the bylaw or they ask for a variance. If they want to do extra after and it complies, that's fine. But if they try to provide it somewhere else, which doesn't comply with the building code, they're stuck with that as a condition.
Okay.
And if they can't provide it in accordance with the bylaw, then that means they would have to reapply.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I kind of thought it was similar to when you're deficient in your landscaping and you're sort of doing the
This is, I
permeable
think, a
pavers.
safety thing too, though. Like, we're
Yeah.
dealing with electricity.
Yeah.
We're not worried about them cutting out a patch of sod, right?
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. So I withdraw my comment about the condition. Leave it up to committee. Yep.
Okay. So with that, I'd like to move a motion for approval. I believe the application meets the 4 tests as revised, given that variance number 7 has been amended from 4.7 to 4.5 meters.
Okay, is there a seconder? Mr. Ross? All in favor? Okay, you have unanimous approval. Thank you.
Thank you, members.
So we're on to item 17, which is 556 Silverthorn Avenue. This is an application to construct 2 stories over the existing dwelling and a 2-story rear addition with a terrace on top. There are 4 variances being requested. Forestry is asking for a deferral, so we'll ask the applicant about that. And Ravine is asking, Natural Ravine and Forestry Protection is asking for condition 1.
Chair, could I just add that on March 21st, Urban Forestry provided us with a fallback option to impose condition 1.
Okay, thank you. And in person, okay.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and committee members.
Good morning.
I wanted to start by...
Could you just get your name? Yeah.
Yes, my name is Natalie Shrigina, and I'm the owner and the applicant of
Perfect.
556
Okay.
Silverthorn Avenue.
Thank you.
I wanted to address your comment about urban forestry first. I have been in touch with them, and I have provided them an arborist report, which was satisfactory, and they have since withdrawn their request for deferral.
Okay.
And this was as of late as of yesterday. I have forwarded that email to the planner on file. And I'm fine with the condition imposed by forestry.
By Ravine, okay. Now, there is someone else that wants to speak to this, so I don't know if you want to do a brief presentation for us then?
Sure, yeah, I can definitely do that. If you could please go to page 3 of the presentation. Then the page just before that. Yes, perfect. This is an aerial image of the showing the property lines and road allowances due to the geometry of Silverthorn and Van Crescent road allowances. The property line at the northeast corner of the subject site is not a right angle, but rather a curve. Several variances in this application are as a result of the northeast front yard setback curving and coming closer towards the existing house. Please go to slide 7. There are a total of 4 variances being requested. I will describe them in the following slides. Please note a relief for height, FSI, and coverage are not being requested. Next slide, please. Variance 1, which only affects the 2-story top addition, is a request to reduce the side yard setback from the lawful 0.54 meters to 0.22 meters on the south side, and from the lawful 0.33 meters to 0.03 on the north side, acknowledging the north side of the house abuts a steep hill seen in slide 4 and a road allowance. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is a slide illustrating multiple examples outlined in blue of previous Committee of Adjustment approvals in the neighborhood with similar or lesser setbacks than those being proposed. The subject site is outlined in pink at the top. Next slide, please. Variance 2, top image is the existing condition, below is the proposed addition. The variance being sought is required to permit the proposed balcony, which intrudes into the front yard setback as a result of the curvature of the property line resulting from the intersection of the 2 road allowances mentioned earlier. Of note is that the proposed setback of the balcony replicates the existing condition of the 2nd floor porch. Next slide, please. Variance 3 is a technical variance to ensure the eaves comply with the most restrictive setback, which is the side yard setback on the north. Next slide, please. Variance 4 is a request for relief for an architectural element, the metal border seen in the highlight, which intrudes into the side yard and the front yard setbacks at the northeast corner of the site due to the curvature of the property line. Next slide, please. I have engaged with the neighboring property owners and an overwhelming majority support this application. I have actually got more signatures, which are here. There's 5 in total, so 3 more than those that you see on the screen. I am aware that there is an objection letter received from the out-of-province owner of the income property immediately to the south, and I believe the variances sought here today do not negatively impact that property. The only variance-related concern pertains to the proposed reduced south side side yard setback and its potential impact on the common walkway between the houses. I would like to clarify that the proposal only affects the new upper addition, and the common walkway between the houses will remain unchanged, as the existing structure along the walkway will remain as is. No changes are proposed to the existing common concrete stairs, backyard gates, or fence. Next slide, please. So I have engaged with city planning staff, Metrolinx, Ravines, Urban Forestry. Nobody has objections, and we have discussed the conditions as when I started the presentation. In summary, the variances being sought are minor, meet the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, are desirable and appropriate, and meet the requirements under the Planning Act. For these reasons, I respectfully request the committee's approval of these minor variances. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I have one question with regards to the north setback.
Yep.
The site plan indicates that your current pathway encroaches onto the neighbors or to neighboring properties on the north. Is that situation changing, or is that remaining that way?
So that is remaining that way. That has been there ever since the house was built in the 20s, I believe.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify that, because we didn't have any letters of objection from them, but just wanted to see what was what.
Yep.
Okay. Questions from other members? No. Mr. Taylor?
Yes, ma'am. Are you familiar with an okay with ravine and natural features protection condition 1?
Yes.
Okay. And are you familiar with the Metrolinx advisory?
Yes, I am.
They have a list of documents and
Correct.
plans. Okay.
Yep. That's totally fine.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. There's another speaker wanting to address this issue, so we're gonna have them speak and then we'll have you come back.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have someone online?
Thank you very much for allowing me to speak. I'm the owner of.
Sorry, could we get your? We got you. We got you online a little bit late, so if you could repeat your name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Romina Mizrahi. I am here with Pablo Rushton. We are owners of 548 Silverthorn Avenue, and we are here because we're very, very concerned about the proposed changes by the owner of 556 Silverthorn, who has never discussed the plans with us before, despite the fact that we have despite the fact that we are the adjacent neighbors to her. She never actually talked to us or attempted to connect with us in any way. We fully oppose the use of our own backyard, which, despite the fact that she says that the changes to the shared walkway and steps are not going to be affected, in the plans she presented, those shared steps and pathway is going to be changed, including the relocation of our own access to our own backyard. More importantly, we oppose any digging in our side of the property line adjacent to the foundation wall of our own house. And here I want to mention the most important thing, which is that there is a 4-meter retaining wall almost 2 feet from our house, which there's been no engineering assessment of potential landslides and potential tracking and collapse of parts of our house. And with that, I would also like to go back to the PowerPoint presentation. I would like you to look into the retaining wall on picture 4. As you can see, in picture 4 of the document provided, you can see it. Yeah. the retaining wall immediately south of one of the areas that will be affected by the renovations based on the plans presented, which is not what has been just said. The gates in the upper part of the picture provide access to our own backyard, are relocated in the plans, and the two-story addition will be built in the area behind these gates. We oppose the relocation of our own gate and providing access to our own backyard. Importantly, these
Excuse me, I'm going to interrupt you for a minute because I don't want you to blow your time on irrelevant stuff.
Yeah.
Can you actually tell us which specific variances you're concerned about?
Variance A? Yeah, variance A specifically, and we're very concerned of the cracking of our foundation of the house and flooding with this addition. Also, the plan does not match what you can see in picture 9, in slide 9. You will see what Ms. Shurhina is saying is not matching the plans that she actually presented in next slide, in the 9. Just, yeah, 9, where you have the maps, the plans.
The basement plans.
So are you referring to your slides or the slides from the applicant?
Our own slides.
It's a slide that you have in
the ones that you have now, just go
number 9.
Number 9 there.
Is it picture 7 and then one after, and there's no 9 listed as 9?
Okay, go to picture 5, please. Thank you. Now, picture 6, the following slide, please.
So this is what we have after picture 5.
And the next one. Here, excellent. Thank you very much. So here, in these plans, you can see that this is the basement plans, and you can see that actually the buildings and relocation of the stairs, which Mr. Shurhina has just said are not going to be affected, are actually changed in the plans. In addition, she's building on our own property line and digging beside a 4-meter retaining wall, which can cause the collapse of the retaining wall and cracking and flooding of our own property, creating a safety hazard to our house and our tenants over there. And I just want to please go to the next slide. And this is just to show you evidence that the owner of 556 Silverthorn Avenue in the past have disregarded our own rights. In the practical terms, this public parking space shown in picture 1 is being treated as her own private driveway for unauthorized front yard parking.
Okay, we've read your letter about that, and that's not relevant here.
No, it is relevant because this shows lack of respect for municipal requests. And in this case, she's saying one thing and she's proposing something else in the plans. Finally, I would like to mention that this 2-floor addition.
Please wrap it up.
Yeah, just wrap it up. Yeah, just 1 minute, 1 second. This 2-floor addition will create a building, a construction of 4 stores in the street. 4 stores, because there is no basement. This house, it's on a slope, and so the main floor is actually what she calls the basement. It is not a basement. This will create a 4 stores building in the street, which I don't know whether this is allowed or not.
I think that's up to the city to determine whether they consider it to be a basement or not, and they've obviously.
And finally,
finally, I think you're.
Just one thing.
I think you're done.
not just one thing. We really request a third-party assessment, expert assessment on the risks for the excavation and
Okay,
construction.
that's beyond our control. That's not what we deal with. So I think you're done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from panel members? Okay, so if we can get the applicant back.
I wanted to start by addressing the common walkway concern brought by the neighbor. As mentioned earlier, that is not being proposed to be reduced because the variance only affects the 2 top floor additions. As such, the utility of the common walkway will remain unchanged and both properties will continue to have unencumbered pedestrian access. The existing concrete steps and the fence line are not proposed to be altered. None of the variances being sought affected by intentions for said features. Further, any inconsistencies of the Committee of Adjustment submission set will be corrected at the time of building permit. I believe that's it.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Any questions? No? Okay, we'll take it into committee. Thank you. There is no one else to speak on this scene?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Committee members, any discussion?
Motion?
Motion is good too.
Yep. So with that, I do believe the application meets the 4 tests and move a motion for approval subject to condition number 1 in the tree protection memo.
So forestry condition 1? No? Ravine condition 1, okay.
Ravine, thank you.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second, Mr. Chair.
I think Rick beat you to it. Mr. Ross, okay, all in favor? Okay, that's unanimous approval. Thank
Sorry,
you.
was there a forestry condition included or no?
No, just the ravine.
Thank you.
Okay, and item 18 has been deferred. So we're on to item 19, but I'm going to ask to be excused because I'm not feeling well right now. Mr. Taylor, if you could take over the chair. And hopefully I'll be right back. Or do you want to, here,
No, I'll stay here.
I'll give you the speakers list.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
Your microphone, Mr. Chair.
Item 19 is 39 GORT Avenue. It's an application for consent and 2 applications for minor variance, each with respect to one of the proposed parts. We have development, engineering, and transportation review conditions. We have a planning condition. We have urban forestry initially requesting refusal and by memo dated March 25th offering us their condition number 1 as an alternative if we wish to approve the the applications. The agent is Nick Basquiano. Mr. Basquiano?
Right here.
Oh, there you are.
Back again.
Yeah, if you could give us a brief presentation. And just before we do that, can I just confirm maybe with Thomas, do we have any speakers online
No, Mr. Chair.
or in the room? No?
Nope.
Okay, good. Go ahead, Mr. Basquiano.
The presentation is to sever the property into 2 halves, build 2 two-story semi-detached dwellings, very identical to the ones I built at 37 GORT right next door. Same lot size, same variances requested, all identical. The only problem was there was a tree that got planted late last year. When I took the pictures to send them in the committee, there was no tree. All of a sudden, because of 37 GORT, I need two tree requirements there. They came along and they planted a tree over here, unbeknownst to me. And I talked to Urban Forest, said, how'd this tree get here? He says, well, 37 got planted, so we had next to him, we put it there. So you see the pictures there don't have a tree. And then they brought the tree to my attention. So I discussed it with Urban Forestry, came up with a revised site plan to replant the tree over a little bit into the new property on 39B GORT, and then put a new tree in front of 39A GORT, like the requirements for Urban Forestry.
So would you be, are you aware of and okay with their requested condition 1 for a city-owned tree?
For Urban Forestry?
Yeah.
Yeah, I discussed it with Urban Forestry, the assistant planner, and he said to revise the drawing. He's the one that instructed me to revise it to replant it.
But we're faced with, they're asking for condition 1.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless of any conversations you may have had, we're looking at this as a matter of fact. Right now, they want condition 1. Would you be okay with, if we approve this?
Sorry, what is the
proposing
condition?
that condition?
What's the condition they're asking for?
Their condition 1, which is to damage or remove a city-owned tree.
We're not damaging it, we're replanting it, according to them.
You're damaging before it's replanted.
What's that?
If you're going to have to replant it again.
You put your microphone on? Oh, you've got it on, sorry.
That's their request. I was actually telling them I'll remove the tree, pay the $583 for a new tree, which is better than the one they planted, because the one they planted is a 0.04, which is below their requirement. Their requirement's 0.05 to 0.06. I even talked to Urban Forest. I said, this must have been the runt of the litter. What am I doing with this small twig? I sent a picture of it also on April 1st, circling it. I didn't even see the tree, I'll be honest with you. It's so small. They called it a twig. So see, I circled it right there. I didn't even see the tree. So they planted it late in the year. So I said, I will eat 2 choices. Give you a new one, which is either 50 or 60 caliber, better than the one that's there, or replant it. He said, replant it. It's so small, it hasn't even taken root yet. It's only was planted in maybe September, October.
Okay, yeah, you've explained that.
Yeah.
And here's what I'll say to you again.
Mm-hmm.
If we approve your applications, it would be with Urban Forestry Condition 1, which would be an application to damage or remove a city-owned tree.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
You would, okay, that's
Yeah.
the answer I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And are you okay with the community planning conditions?
Yes.
And the development, engineering, and transportation review conditions?
Yes.
Okay. Panel, any questions for Mr. Baschioni? Okay, we ready then to go into committee for discussion if needed and or a decision?
So with that,
And we're deciding on 3 applications. 1 consent and 2 minor
That's right.
variances.
Yeah, 1 consent, 2 minor variances. So with that, I do believe the application meets the 4 tests. I move a motion for approval, subject to the March 26, 2025 planning memo, where they're tying it to the January 22nd, 2025 site plan and elevations they have on file. And I believe that is it.
There are ECS
And,
conditions?
Pardon me?
ECS?
And the ECS.
And you mentioned urban forestry.
And forestry.
Is there a seconder for Mr. Dalton's motion? Okay, Mr. Ross, thank you. All in favor? Unanimous approval? Thank you. Moving on to item 20, 4240 Bloor Street West. Purpose is to construct a 2nd-story addition above the existing detached garage and a 2-story west side addition to accommodate a new garden suite. We have Urban Forestry requesting condition 2, and we have 2 variances. The agent is Ian Morrison. And you're here, sir?
Present.
Okay, this appears to be very straightforward, but if you could give us a highlighter 2 or whatever you choose to inform us about.
So yeah, currently on the corner of the lot, there's a one-story, two-car garage. We're looking to expand the footprint slightly to include stairs and access to a second story. And the second story will be used for a garden suite, which will be occupied by the owner's parents.
Anything else?
There was one letter of concern regarding the height and the setbacks in our original proposal. We've addressed the concern for the setback on the property line by reducing the second story portion back to the required setback. We've also taken away any windows on the second floor that face the property line to enhance the privacy of our neighbors as much as possible.
I'm sorry, are you asking for something from us?
Nope.
Nope.
Except, well, I'm asking for...
other than what I'm looking at, 2 variances.
Yes, I'm asking...
You don't want anything else?
No, I just
you don't want to change anything?
Nope.
Okay.
We just want...
Are you okay with urban forestry condition 2 regarding a privately owned tree?
Yes, we are. We will submit
okay
an application upon
Okay.
approval of the variances.
Okay, thank you. Just stand there for a second, please. Panel, any questions for Mr. Morrison? No? Okay, then we're ready to go into committee for a motion.
Sorry, there's a few people that are online that are wanting to speak.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It'll be 3 people. We have 2 ones that so 2 of them are in the same address, so I'm just gonna connect to one of them and have one of them speak, and then we had a late addition.
So you're gonna invite someone to speak? No. Oh, wait. Yes, they are.
Deidre?
Yes, they are.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. So like I said before, we have also an Aaron. I believe you guys live in the same address, so we'll just have one of you speak for the 5 minutes.
That's fine. I can speak.
Perfect.
So who's speaking?
Hello, this is Deirdre Schroeder. I live and own the home at 31 Ericsdale Road, directly behind the applicants.
Okay, so...
My husband...
go ahead.
Yes, thank you. My husband and I purchased our home in 2010, and we have 2 beautiful children, and this is our forever home. When we were house hunting back in 2010, we saw dozens of homes, and I remember thinking, oh, you know, that home on Ericsdale has that huge monster home behind it. This little, otherwise perfect bungalow probably sits in its shadow, but when we visited our home for the first time, I was really pleasantly surprised. The backyard was lovely, and the large home on BLOOR was far enough away that we could still see the sky. With the neighbors at the time, we planted cedars on their side of the fence for privacy, and these 4-meter trees now almost entirely block the view of the large home, but not the sky. However, these cedars are not shown in the new plans, and I assume they would not survive the construction if this variance proceeds. The proposed variance is not only 50% taller than the bylaw allows, but it's also greater floor space than is allowed, and it would block any view of the sky from our master bedroom and kitchen windows. This makes me very sad and brings back my initial concern about living in the shadow of a monster home. I feel it will impact the future value of our property. I've been losing sleep over the potential impact on our largest and most important investment and what this means for our retirement and financial future. Last year, before learning of these plans, my husband planted a $500 Japanese maple in the garden directly behind that proposed structure. This tree, along with other plants that rely on the morning sunlight, would not survive in the shadow of this 6-meter tall building. Our backyard is our oasis. We do not own other property or a cottage and spend a lot of our time in our yard, even in the winter, using our 4-season hot tub. The proposed plan would remove the cedars that provide a natural privacy barrier and replace them with a structure
barely 1.5 meters from the fence line, towering over where the trees once were and peering into our yard and master bedroom. The loss of privacy cannot be understated. We have been fortunate to have lovely, respectful neighbors. Our kids go to school together and attend each other's birthdays. I hope we can find a compromise that won't have such a massive impact on privacy, shade, and our home value, as these changes would have material negative impact to our current conditions. The existing detached garage structure is large, and we can see its roof line from our yard, which is fine and acceptable. If the current home with its in-law suite is insufficient for our neighbor's family, perhaps modifying the ground floor garage structure could be a compromise instead of asking for a 2-meter variance and excessive large second-story garden suite. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Panel, any questions for Ms. Schroeder? Okay, we have another speaker, Thomas?
Yeah, yes, I will connect them now.
Oh, is it the same address?
No, so this one was a late addition that we got an email for. So let me see. She just disappeared. Oh, there she is.
I was worried. Good morning, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Francesca Judd, and I am directly east adjacent to the property in question. I was never
Could you give us your
told about,
specific, sorry ma'am, could you give us your specific address?
4238 Bloor Street West, so I'm directly east.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so the proposed structure was never discussed with me. I never knew about it. The only way I found out was when I got the letter from the Committee of Adjustments for the July hearing that got postponed. And yeah, so my concern is the height of the proposed structure, similar to the previous person who spoke. You know, when I've been living in my home for over 25 years, and the property is a 2-story home now that used to be a bungalow. And with that, because it's such a monstrous big building, you know, it's already taken away the light that I used to have and the views, and everything has been blocked. Now with the proposed structure, I know that the height right now is to be 4 meters, but they're asking, so I'm talking about the first variance of the 4 meters, and they're asking for the ancillary building to be 5.99 meters, which is roughly nearly 1.5 times the allowable height. Now the proposed, of course, if that is going to be built, the rest of my light from the west is going to be taken away. Half is already gone with the big building there now, and then the rest of it is going to be gone. Now, so the proposed height of 5.99 meters is way too tall a structure for my low-rise bungalow. I feel that a structure this close to my property, it's literally really close, I sent in pictures as well, would invade my personal space and be an intrusion on my privacy and the privacy of my 2 daughters who live with me, as we use our backyard very often. It's on our backyard portion of it. I feel that the proposed structure would block all of the light coming onto my property. I am very concerned about my privacy because of the height, and then I'm a low bungalow there, just due to the close proximity of the proposed structure. Like I said, I have sent in pictures showing how close it is to me. They're also proposing a flat roof, which would, of course, make the structure taller in height. And this is causing my daughters and myself anxiety about the future use of our backyard. I'm also concerned about my property value falling. I understand that they have a letter of, I don't know, acceptance, whatever it's called, from the other neighbor, but it doesn't affect them at all. It affects me and the rear neighbor because it's being built on our side. And I know in the previous drawings, there were windows that were literally overlooking my property because it's so high. And I don't know what happened to those windows now, if they're still there, but I am very concerned about the privacy of my privacy.
Is there anything
and
else?
just, you know, some, being able to overlook my property. No, that's my concern. I'm objecting to it, objecting to the height, because I just feel it's too tall and it would, we've already got such a big property that's blocked out everything, and now the rest of it is going to block out literally everything from my site. But I'm more concerned about my privacy and enjoyment of my own property, of my own backyard. Like, we're there all the time, my daughters and me out in my backyard, and I won't be able to do that. That's my reasonable right to enjoy my own backyard. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Pam, any questions for Ms. Judd? No? Okay, Mr. Morrison, you have up to 5 minutes if you need it to rebut what Ms. Schroeder and Ms. Judd just said.
Okay. I did do a brief presentation that kind of superimposed the existing two-story structure and what we're proposing. What we're proposing is probably about 25 to 30% lower than the existing two-story structure that's already on the property. And then also to Ms. Francesca's comments, we did pull the structure back away from the property line in our new application and our new proposal to help alleviate with her concern on that. We also did take the window away that was facing her property, so she should have no privacy concerns on that. And then, yeah, that's my answer to them.
Okay. Can I ask, with regard to variance 2, which I think is the more problematic of the two, why do you have to have a 20-foot tall garden suite, 50% larger than allowed by zoning?
So we're hoping to use the existing garage structure as much as possible.
How tall is that?
It's approximately like 4 meters already. Or
So you have a
4
zoning,
meters.
in other words, you have a zoning compliant garage there now.
Correct.
And now you want to put another 2 meters on top.
Yes.
And would the ground floor be presumably part of the garden suite?
Yes, it would be. So, I mean, there is minimum headroom requirements by code, and then to allow for structure and clear spanning joists as well. That's what we've kind of determined as the required height. It also, like, 6 meters would be allowed if we could get further away from our existing property. It's our understanding if we are 7.5 meters away from our existing primary dwelling, that 6 meters would be allowed. But unfortunately, the property is not quite big enough to get to that 7.5 meters. I think we're at 5.32 meters.
How far is the garden suite from the main residence?
5.32 meters.
Panel, any questions for Mr. Morrison? Comments?
So just a clarification, so if the garden suite were 7 meters away, then the height would not be a variance?
Correct. 7.5 meters.
What's the maximum height permitted then?
6 meters.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, then let's go into.
I did just want to comment that both the north and east elevations, neither have a window.
Correct.
On the drawing, so I'm just not sure if you had discussions with the abutting neighbors. They're fully aware there's no windows, correct?
I believe.
Was that discussed?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
My understanding of what you were saying was not so much the window issue, but the blocking of the sky and the light and so on, which, whether there's windows or not, don't impact that.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think it really addressed their concerns, I guess is what's coming.
I mean,
Distances are approved by the building. We are in compliance with the codes. Setbacks and everything.
I'm sorry, ma'am, are you asking Mr. Ronson to say something on your behalf?
I'm sorry.
Well, I can't hear you, so.
you want to?
I know, but she can't speak in the rebuttal. Sorry, you can't.
Yeah, you
speak
can't,
in the rebuttal.
you've selected a spokesperson, so.
It's we comply with the setbacks and everything else. No windows, nothing. So it's just the sky.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing our best to address the neighbors' concerns by with the setbacks. Like, we're respecting the setbacks, so that will give them the maximum amount of light.
Okay, we're ready to go into committee then for perhaps some more discussion and.
One more question, if I
Oh, sorry,
may.
go ahead.
So you would not be opposed to being tied to your elevations so that you would not be allowed to put windows on either of those two elevations?
So you mean when we go for
When you go for building
permit, there's like a condition that no windows can be on those elevations?
Has to look like that.
Yeah, so that the elevations are what you're showing now. You can't, you won't be able to change them.
Correct. We won't add windows on those elevations.
Okay.
You said, sir, you were doing your best to address the neighbors' concerns. Can you expand on that statement a little bit?
Just that, you know, we resubmitted this since July because there was also concerns we weren't meeting the setback in that first submission. So we've revised it, as you can see on the rear elevation that's on the screen now. The left side is like pushed back to maximize light and privacy concerns to that neighbor.
Any other questions of the agent before we go into committee?
No.
Okay, then. We're now in committee for discussion amongst ourselves, if required, or a motion.
Seems to me that the one comment that kind of stuck in my craw a little bit was if the lot were bigger, further away, we'd be able to do it, but the lot is what it is.
The lot is what it is. I think if the lot were deeper and he were able to set it back further, then we wouldn't have the height variance.
Right.
The height variance exists because they're so close to the main structure. Yeah.
But that's the reality. The lot size is the reality. It kind of weakens your
Well,
argument.
that's easy. That's where the garage is, right?
Yeah, well, they want to build on the existing
Right.
structure. So you can interpret that, I mean, you know, if you want to get into legalese on this, you could, or you could remove a corner of it because it's, so I mean, you know, they could get around it that way. But if you want to interpret why the bylaw was written that way, it was probably written that way because of the effect that it has on the main structure of the same site. Because if the house were 7 meters away, and they would still, I don't know if the setbacks change or not, but if they're the same setbacks and they could do this as of right, then the neighbors wouldn't even be able to complain about it.
Mm-hmm. Except for the extra 3 square meters.
Except for the, yeah, there is the overage on the coverage as well. And then, you know, recently the angular plane requirements have been removed.
Right.
Because that could have addressed some of the neighbors' concerns as well. But the city, in their wisdom, has removed those requirements now. Oh, the province, okay, sorry. Thank you.
Any other comments? So we ready for a motion then?
So with that, I'm going to move a motion for approval, as I do believe the application meets the 4 tests, subject to the forestry condition, and then I'm not sure about how we do this, but then also then tying it to the north and east elevations, which are drawings A-06 and A-08 dated.
You might want to add with respect to windows, so that the plan,
Well, if it's tying to the elevation doesn't show any windows.
correct. But,
So-
but we often say
Well,
why we're
well,
doing
we're
it.
tying it, yeah. Well, that's why I'm mentioning the north and the east elevations as they currently show, and the building will not then have windows on those sides. And those drawings are dated February 12th, 2025.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dalton. Is there a seconder for Mr. Dalton's motion?
I'll second it.
Okay.
I was trying to stay out of it because I wasn't here at the very beginning, but I'll second that.
Alrighty, all in favor? Opposed? You're opposed? Okay, so the motion carries 3-2. Very close. Thank you.
Thank you, committee.
Are you ready to resume the chair, Mr. Chair?
I think, yeah, feeling a little bit better, so thank you very much for
No
that,
problem.
Mr. Taylor. You'll have to bring me up to speed on what happened on the previous one.
Okay.
But we'll do
Next
that
month.
later, next month, yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I'm not going to give you the chair. I'm going to ask one question of our Deputy Secretary Treasurer.
Okay.
We have, as you know, 2 items to go. Is it okay to proceed? It's probably going to take us potentially to 1 p.m., but that's okay? Nobody's starving?
Okay.
I am, but anyway. I don't count. That's okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Taylor. Thanks for pitch hitting for me, too.
Not a problem.
So item 21 is number 14 Norcrest Drive. This item was deferred from November 21st of 2024, and this is an application to construct a new detached garage in the rear yard. There are 4 variances being requested. Planning is requesting a condition of approval in the event that we approve. And I don't have a speaker's list.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. And in person. Oriana?
Yeah, that's correct. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of committee. My name is Oriana Nanoa, planner at Design Plan Services, Inc. Location is 87 Skyway Avenue, Suite 200, Toronto.
Okay, I don't think we need a full presentation, but if you can just give us a brief overview.
Yeah, sure. So this is a small scale and straightforward proposal for a rear detached 3 garage, which will be replacing the existing 2-car garage on the subject property. There are 4 variances. 2 variances are associated with maximum driveway width, 1 variance for the height of the structure, and 1 variance for the gross floor area of the structure. As you're aware, the application was initially deferred to provide time to make some revisions to the proposal and obtain a new zoning notice in an attempt to satisfy planning staff. So since that deferral, we have made revisions to the proposal, and planning staff subsequently have no objections to the proposal as it stands. We have also reviewed the planning report dated March 24, 2025, and they have raised no concerns, and they also recommend a condition be imposed to tie the approval to the plans, and we are okay with this condition. And transportation services staff have also not raised any concerns or objections. And further to our understanding, there are no members of the public in opposition to the proposal today, and also a support letter.
Support petition, yeah.
Yeah, a support petition was submitted by the owners. So happy to get into detail about the variances, but
No, that's good, thank you.
yeah.
Any questions? No? And there's no one else to present on this one? Will?
No, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. So if we can take it back to committee.
If there are no questions or comments, Mr. Chair, I bring a motion to approve this application, as I believe it meets the 4 tests and with the planning condition tied to the plans.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pollack. Is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
I think Rick beat you to it. Mr. Ross?
That's
all,
fine.
All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay, our last item for today, item 22, 393 Rustic Road. This is an application that was deferred from March of 2024, and it is an application to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage, a rear yard deck, an in-ground swimming pool, and a cabana in the rear yard. There are 13 variances being requested, and planning is requesting 2 conditions in the event of approval. And I believe our speaker is Mr. Romano online.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Franco Romano, Action Planning, 321 Lakeshore Road.
Okay, good afternoon, sir. Given that we do have other speakers requested, if you could perhaps give us a presentation.
Yes, certainly. If staff can bring up my slide presentation. So just to confirm, the deferral was because the notice that went out the last time had the incorrect date. But what we have done, actually in advance of that last meeting, as well as today, is we've worked with staff and actually revised the proposal, but the variances in front of you incorporate those revisions. And those revisions resulted in a reduction in lot coverage, a reduction in wall height, and an increase in the cabana rear yard setback. So the staff conditions of approval are generally satisfactory, but I do have a couple of comments regarding their specificity. And I note that urban forestry has no concerns because there are no trees affected. So the site plan on slide 1, and staff, thank you for bringing this up, shows that the house is actually set back further than where the existing house is today. So the existing house would have a front yard setback variance. The proposal is seeking to reduce that by, excuse me, by pushing the building a little further back and aligning in transition with both neighboring houses. You'll see that the building length for most of the house is 17.2 to 17.5 meters, and I've shown in a magenta box outline where the length is to 19.2 meters. It's a small bump out at the back, and it also includes the architectural features. That's why staff is looking at tying it to the some of the drawings. In terms of the lot coverage includes all of the structures, including the deck. So the house itself is at 31.59%. And you'll see that it aligns pretty well with what's happening next door, even though it's a different configuration. And we'll see in other slides that that lot coverage is in keeping with what's occurring in the neighborhood and on the street in particular. The street is in transition. There are virtually no variances for what's happening in the backyard other than the cabana. It has a rear yard setback of 0.6 meters, and that is next to the key lot, which is the neighboring house to the rear. If we go to slide number 2, we'll see that the side elevation, and both side elevations are similar, but we'll see the architectural features to the right and the left. The left side is the front. The first floor height variance is basically, and the wall height is basically a product of the topography. We'll see that the topography rises from the front to the back. So while there's a front pedestrian entrance height variance, the rear is only 73 meters, sorry, 73 centimeters from ground level. I didn't include the rear elevation because it's part of the architectural plans, but it's a very low profile building. The building height that's permitted is 10 meters, and that is the horizontal line that's shown at the top of this side elevation. So we'll see that the proposed building is low profile and it is low scale. With that grade difference, that wall height is only 7.76 meters, or a 26 centimeter difference. If we go to the next slide, we'll see that I've undertaken a review of the street in particular, the block, and what is being proposed here is very much in keeping in terms of side yard setbacks. Most properties have a side yard setback less than 1.8 meters, and that includes on both sides. About 40% of properties have side yard setbacks less than 1.8 meters. And lot coverage, properties that have more than 30% represents about 27 or 30% of the lots on the block, and they range up to 42% in lot coverage, and building lengths are similar. It's about 27% of properties. So it's pretty much in keeping with what's occurring, particularly when we're accounting for existing structures. In many cases, there are larger structures within rear yards, as well as dwellings, older and more new construction. What we also see on this property map is that front yard setbacks are undulating. They're different, and there's quite a few properties that would not meet the zoning requirement today, just like the subject site wouldn't today, the existing front wall.
Okay, I'm going to get you to wrap up, please.
Yeah, in terms of the conditions of approval, I think the second one that staff has regarding the east second story platform, there are two platforms, one's at the front and one's at the rear. I would suggest that the second condition dictate that regarding the rear platform. And in terms of condition number one, I respectfully ask to include the term substantially. So subject to any questions, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, we'll come back to the requested changes to the conditions. There's another speaker, so if we could get, I believe it's Frank, next door neighbor.
I'm on the phone, and my wife Liliana Leo is on the line. So our
I think we've lost you.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so just to piggyback on what my husband
Okay, can you,
was,
okay, if you're going to be doing the presentation, can we get your name and address, please?
Liliana Leo, 395 Rustic Road.
Thank you.
You're
Go ahead, you're on.
So the two concerns that we have is the drainage. So we see in the plans that there's going to be an in-ground pool, but in all the lots on Rustic Road, there is a grading and there's a natural drainage that happens in the backyard. So our concern is if the grading of the pool is going to be, if the grading is going to be raised to accommodate this pool, there's going to be flooding on our side on 395, which will cause damage to the new landscaping that we recently have done in the past 5 years. So that is our concern, is the back drainage. And on this plan, we don't see the plan for drainage. We only see what is being built, but we don't have any indication of how this new development, which we're in approval of, where we love new development, how is that, where is the drainage accommodated for?
Yeah, I think that's something they get into at the building, permit stage.
They will have to submit a drainage plan. Yes.
So
Sorry.
we're new to this. Does this,
can't
does
mute my
this,
phone.
do these conversations continue?
What, there's different stages of approval, and what we're dealing with now are those items that are not compliant with the zoning bylaw. So those issues we're addressing today. Issues like drainage and construction will be addressed later. If you have concerns, you can deal with the city on those issues. You could also talk to your neighbors about it, or the applicant, and we will get them to address that to some degree after you're finished your presentation.
So how do we, can you clarify how we connect with who could answer our questions? Because nobody has approached us. Like we love the design, we love the new development, but who do we have a conversation with?
The owner.
And how is it recorded in our notes in regards to a concern? Like we don't want it to be brought up to say, oh, you should have joined the hearing, or this should have been brought up.
No.
That's why we're.
Okay, so fair enough.
Does that make sense?
So let's start with the zoning issues. You have no concerns with the proposal in terms of what the zoning requirements are and what they're asking for. Is that correct? Okay. So you're concerned about the construction process and the drainage and the landscaping that's going to take place.
Correct.
So I will get the
how their landscaping is going to impact our landscape.
Understood. So we can get the applicant to at least address at a very basic level whether they're going to lower, raise, or change the level of the landscaping. Let's do that today. Beyond that, I suggest you get in touch with the owners to talk about it in more detail.
And how do we connect with the owners?
Well,
right
maybe
now,
maybe Mr. Romano can give you
renting.
Maybe Mr. Romano can give you some contact information.
Is he still on the line?
He's going to come back, but he doesn't want to interfere with your time. That's the way we do this. We have, the applicant, then other people, then we come back to the applicant. So if you have any other questions, please put them out now.
Frank?
It's not a back and forth between you and the applicant. Right now was
No,
your
she's
time-
asking her husband.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're both Franks.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
The main thing is the grading plan. Is there a grading plan in place?
Let's get Frank Romano to address that. Okay. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Romano.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Leo. So first off, I'll just give my my name and phone number. So hopefully, Liliana, you have a pen handy, but you can always reach out to me at 416-737-7526. And I do understand, I know where you're living. I have the owner and even the architect knock on your door to discuss. So in terms of the grading, what will occur is grading and drainage plan will be submitted to the building department. It has to show that there are no changes to the grades at the property lines. And the pool is at a grade level on the site plan drawing. I know the renderings that are shown here are just illustrations. They don't show grading, but the site plan and the rear elevation of the building shows that what's occurring in the backyard is at grade. The dwelling is raised a little bit, but it's not changing the grades along the side lot line or the rear. And the rear yard soft landscaping represents 64% of the rear yard, and that's not including the pool. And that is in excess of the 50% that the zoning bylaw requires. So there's quite a bit of soft landscaping in the rear yard, and of course the side yards will be soft as well. So we're happy to have the owner and the architect and the continue to communicate and discuss and liaise with the next door neighbor to ensure that those grades will not impact their existing vegetation and there will be no changes to grades at the property lines and certainly not over the property line. So Mr. Chairman, that's my information related to the neighbor's comments, and I'm happy to speak to the two conditions if you like.
Okay, yeah, let's come back to that. So you're not happy with the wording of one of the conditions?
Okay. Yes, I'm not happy with the wording of both conditions actually.
Both conditions.
So if you look at condition number 1, it says the proposed development shall be constructed as illustrated on the site plan and elevations and held on file by the Committee of Adjustment as it relates to building length and canopy encroachment. Typically, the term substantially as illustrated on the site plan and elevations is a word that gets used.
Used
I
to
prefer
be.
to have that word in there. Yeah.
It used to be.
That is,
They're
that is-
changing their approach a little bit.
Yeah, so that is a term that I request to be added there. And the second condition, as I mentioned, there are 2 platforms. One is at the front and one is at the rear. And just to confirm, the text of the report talks about the 14.71 square meter second story rear platform. So I'm just asking that to clarify and ensure that the building department knows which platform we're talking about.
Okay.
It would say the east side of the rear second story platform.
That's fair. That's fair.
Oh, I got 1 out of 2. That's fair. That's good.
Yeah.
Those would be my suggestions. Sir.
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
No worries. I think substantially they've stepped away from that in the last year or so. So that's why they put as it relates to, so that the building inspector or building department knows what it is that they're specifically concerned about. But I leave it up to my fellow committee members to decide how they want to deal with that. Madam Secretary Treasurer, I'm assuming there's no problem with adding the specificity of which balcony we're talking about for condition 2.
No, that makes sense.
Okay, thank you. All right, any questions from anyone else? Take it into committee then.
Mr. Chair, on the basis of what's been represented and discussed here today, I believe this matter does meet the 4 tests. I recognize the neighbors' concerns and the agent's response in terms of grading and drainage. In my motion proposal, I would not change condition 1. I believe condition 2, some specificity would not be inappropriate. That's the motion that I propose.
Okay, so you're proposing 2 conditions, second condition amended to specify which platform we're talking about.
Yes.
Perfect.
So the rear platform.
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah.
Along the east side of the rear second story.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion on that basis.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Taylor. All in favor? Okay, we have unanimous approval. Thank you, Mr. Romano, and thank you to the neighbors, to the other Frank.
Thank you very
and
much.
wife.
The rest of your day.
Sorry, that was Don. Okay, and that was our last item. So I guess if someone could do Laura's favorite motion. Okay, Mr. Taylor moves adjournment at 12:49. And we are done. Thank you to staff.